Tony Winters, welcome inside the Crazy Ant Farm, man. How are you?
I am well, and why is this an ant farm?
Well, the name of the production company, because we're also a film production company. We do film and television projects. Also, just finished our first film, actually directing our first film. So,
Congratulations.
it's called Crazy Ant Media. So we just figured the Ant Farm would be a nice extension of that inside the Crazy Ant Farm. So, hence the name for the podcast. But, yeah, man. So, and it fit us because we're a little crazy. We like to have some fun and tear things up. So,
Well, that's cool, man. I could tell from the pre-interview there that you guys are a little...
Okay.
But all in a good way, we promise. We promise.
Yeah.
We are excited to talk to you, man. I just, look, doing our research on you and everything, one thing that popped out onto me was you were on my show, man, like Hunter with Fred Dreyer. I was like, what? I was like, because I'm old enough to remember that show with him and Stephanie Kramer, and I was like, yeah. So that's exciting. I was just like, this guy's cool already.
Man, that was my first recurring role on a primetime series.
Yeah.
It was a pretty big deal for me. It was a pretty big deal for me.
I bet.
Yeah. Stephanie Kramer had left the show by the time I came aboard.
Well, that's okay. I mean,
Yeah, I worked with Darlene Flugel.
Okay.
And Lauren, I almost want to say Lauren Lake, but I'm not.
Yeah, no, I think that's right.
Yeah. Yeah, very positive experience, man. I got that job because I think I can only, guess. I got it in part because I'm 6'2".
Sure.
So I look good standing next to Fred Dreyer.
That's right. Yeah, for anybody who doesn't know, Fred was an LA Ram, a pro football player, so he's a big boy. Yeah. So, yeah. That's right. Well, look, let's rewind that back a little bit, though, because what we like to do, how we like to start out a little bit, is kind of give our listeners a little bit of your background. How did you get started in acting? Just not jumping straight to Hunter, but was that something you always kind of wanted to do, or did you fall into it, or how'd that happen, man?
I think I did. I don't remember not wanting to be an actor.
Mm-hmm.
As a child, you want to be everything. One week you want to be a fireman, next week you want to be a policeman, and
Right.
a doctor, and a lawyer, blah, blah, blah. Well, I realized at a certain point, I don't really want to be all those things. I want to be an actor playing those guys.
There you go.
That's even better, because then you get to be all of them.
Yeah, and I wanted to be like I wanted the dramas to play out like they did on television. And real life and television aren't always the same thing.
That's right.
So and at the same time, during my formative years, television shows like Good Times and Sanford and Son and What's Happening and That's My Mama. All these black sitcoms were on the air in the 70s, and I wanted to. The whole black community dug these shows, but I wanted to be on those shows.
Yes.
There you go.
And I knew that I grew up in Detroit, and I knew they were in this far-off land called Hollywood. I didn't know how to get there, but I thought it was a pretty cool place. And my aunt, I have a dear aunt. I visited San Diego between my junior and senior year in high school. Mm-hmm. And she just showed me all of Southern California, my younger brother and I. I mean, she saw the Pacific Ocean for the first time.
Oh.
Palm trees, clear blue skies, and she took us to Hollywood.
There you go.
And I remember driving up the street, what I know to be now Gower, and we were past which is where Paramount Studios is located. And we were driving by, and there was a marquee that said "Happy Days," and I was like, "Whoa!"
Yeah,
right.
That's right.
And then we went on to the Universal Studios tour. We took the Universal Studios tour for the first time. And I remember the tram having to come to a stop because they were shooting a television show.
Ooh.
And I kind of had this revelation. I was like, okay, this is like real. This is a real place. Like in Detroit, we make cars and trucks and tires. But in Hollywood, they make movies and music and films. So I said, I don't know how I'm going to get here, but somehow I'm going to Hollywood.
Oh, yeah.
And 6 years later, after detouring with doing theater in San Diego and getting some pretty good notices, I had the confidence to come to LA and I got a job as a tour guide at Universal.
There you go. That's it. That's a great story. That is a great story.
When I got there, they were shooting Back to the Future.
Oh. Nice.
So the whole back lot was dressed as Hill Valley.
Right.
And it wasn't uncommon to see Michael J. Fox walking around or Christopher Lloyd or DeLorean parked somewhere. It was a really magical time.
Exactly. That's what we like to pride ourselves on, passing on the knowledge to the up-and-comers trying to break into the entertainment industry. Mm-hmm. If you get a job just around movies, around television, that is your foot in the door to make connections. Maybe you bring coffee to the right person one day, and then you guys start talking, and you're like, oh, I'm also an actor, and then you get the ball rolling. So how important do you think that is, just to take like a studio touring job or like a PA job?
It's vitally important. First of all, or doing theater, especially if you're on the acting side like I am, or like I was. I'll tell you a quick story. While I was a tour guide at Universal Studios, there was an actor named Leon Isaac Kennedy. Took my tour, which happened to be the LTD, the last tram of the day.
Oh, okay.
Nobody ever wanted to do it because it was usually a small group. These trams seat 200, and you might have a group of 7.
Right.
So, it's easier to play to a bigger crowd than a small crowd.
For sure.
I had a small crowd, and at the end of the tour, I for whatever reason, I decided to do my absolute best on this tour. You know what I mean? I just decided to pull out all the stops. I told all the funny stories, all the anecdotes, all the corny jokes. And at the end of the tour, the guy walks up to me and he says, man, I just want to tell you, you did a really great job. And these men that I'm entertaining were really entertained. And I looked at him, I said, hey, wait a second, man, you're Leon Isaac Kennedy. I said, what have you been up to? And he says, well, I'm co-producing Penitentiary 3 right now. I said, and ignorance being bliss, I didn't know I wasn't supposed to ask this.
Right.
I said, well, since you're a producer, maybe you can help me out. I'm an actor. I'm trying to get my SAG card. And he said, okay.
Oh, wow.
See? Oh.
He wrote down his home phone number and told me to call him. In 3 months, I called him 3 months to the day. He brought me in. I met the director. They gave me 3 lines as a reporter in the movie, which I'm cut out of the finished version, but I got my Taft-Hartley and got my SAG card.
You got it.
I never looked back.
Oh, man. See, 2 huge things out of that, right? 1, always treat people the right way. Always put your best self forward no matter what you do and try to make the best of the situation. Like you said, it's the last train. Who cares? I'm going to put this on. I'm going to do a good job. Because the second part of that is you never know who's there or who you're talking to or who somebody might be, right? And so you always got to have that best foot forward. And that's a fantastic story and like great advice for everybody listening. Like, this is how you do it, guys, and sometimes ignorance does work. You're like, oh, I'm not supposed to say that. Oops. But oh, well. Sometimes luck is involved too. That's right. And speaking of, you said it's usually a small crowd on that train and everything, and you people like to play to the big crowd. So let's talk about that theater, right? Because you said you started in theater, so you're used to playing to the stage, the big crowd. You have to get loud out there, right? What was the transition like for you going from theater to in front of a camera on a movie set or on a television show? Because it's a bit of a difference, right?
Yes, very different. You're not playing to the 50th row.
That's right.
You're not projecting and you're not making grand gestures.
That's right.
Trying to, communicate your emotions to, like I said, the people in the 50th row. It was pretty smooth for me because after doing a string of plays and theater and studying, in San Diego, when I got to LA and I was working at Universal, I used as a tour guide, you were given permission to visit filming sets. So I would just go and watch, I go to tapings of The Facts of Life,
right?
Different Strokes or The Jeffersons, all which shot on Universal a lot at that time. Where I go watch, Ernest Borgnine and Jan Michael Vincent and Airwolf. Yeah. It was, or the Hoff.
Right, that's right.
Do Knight Rider, but not great acting, but it was a chance to see how it was done.
Right.
And then a friend of mine suggested that I mail to the soap operas.
Yeah.
And at that time, all the networks had like 3 or 4 soap operas.
That's right.
Going, and each network here in Los Angeles had at least 3 or 4.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So I started mailing to them every couple of months, and they started calling. And to work on a daytime soap is a lot like theater. I mean, you get there in the morning, or you get your script a couple of weeks in advance. You get there in the morning and you dry block. You just kind of run it with the other actors. Then you camera block, and then you come back after lunch and you dress rehearsal, and then you tape. So all that rehearsal was kind of good. I'd only have 3 or 4 lines as a cop,
sure,
something like that. But it was a nice transition. And really cool thing about daytime soaps is that there's no rerun.
Right.
If you stink,
it's there and gone. It's there and gone. Real quick.
Rerun to haunt you.
That's right.
So it was a very smooth transition for me, and then slowly and gradually I started getting work in episodic TV, which is really kind of my wheelhouse.
Right.
And it is to this day.
There you go. Because, I mean, I was thinking about it. Most recently, a lot of these legendary soap opera shows are, like, getting canceled, going off the air. I feel like the only one left is Young and the Restless. So what do you think about that? Do you think it's going to be, like, everything comes back around? Or do you think, like, soap operas are about to be dead and gone?
Good question. I would have to say everything is cyclical.
Yeah.
Logan, remember there was the game show was dying.
That's right.
Yeah.
And now the game show has rebounded. I mean, during the summer months, networks only have game shows.
That's right. Exactly.
That's right.
You know what I mean? So I think the genre will rebound in a couple of years. It'll come back around. Some network chief will say, well, why don't we launch a soap in the middle of the afternoon?
For sure.
And I think it will come back because people, and a lot of people work from home now.
That's right.
Maybe they want to watch take an hour out and watch The Young and the Restless or The Bold and the Beautiful.
That's right. That's right.
Days of Our Lives in General Hospital.
Exactly.
All this
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, and another thing that I really like that you mentioned right there in that whole context is your wheelhouse, right? Because I think in this industry, it's really important to be able to figure that out, right? That you know your place, know your avenue, and if that's where you're at and that's where you're good at, go for it, right? Because especially if you want to be a working actor, because I feel like a lot of people just set like I'm only going to do film. Right. And I'm like, well, then you're going to be hungry for a while because, you might not get that or whatever. But when you're lucky enough to find your wheelhouse and know this is my niche, this is what I'm good at, I can make a serious living doing this and be able to do what I do. How important is that for the up and comers to be able to realize that?
Oh man, that's vitally important. In fact, when you meet with your representation, early on in your career, they ask you, they want to know how you see yourself. Where are you going? Where would you? What are your aspirations for your career? And if you think you're Denzel Washington and you're actually Kevin Hart,
right?
They're going to sense that and realize that this guy isn't, or this woman, isn't. We're not on the same page here.
Right.
I don't know how I can represent this person. So it's important to understand your instrument and where your strengths are. Like during the early 90s, when black sitcoms like the Wayans brothers, Martin, and, Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, I did none of those. It wasn't what I did.
Right.
I understood that I was largely a dramatic actor, and I've done some sitcoms, but I was usually straight man.
Right.
To the funny guy,
right?
I'm not that guy, and I understood. That's why they're not calling me because people don't see me in that way.
Right.
I like to think I'm funny, but I'm probably funny back there in my living room, not here.
That's great. I love it. And with the entertainment industry is such full of rejection and downfall, but that's also so much light at the end of the tunnel. So what do you think is the most important thing to keep your mental health on the right track? Because mental health plays a big role in today's society. So how do you try to stay positive in an industry full of rejection?
Someone told me a long time ago to think of yourself as a fine automobile. Like today I am a BMW, and think of the producers and the writers and the directors who are shopping for talent as potential car buyers. They're looking for a luxury vehicle. Today they wanted a Mercedes-Benz, not the BMW. I'm still a fine automobile.
Right.
They just wanted something different.
That's
you
right.
Know what I mean? And that's the way I've always viewed it. I've never taken it personal. And I think it also has a lot to do with my background in San Diego, my theater background.
Mm-hmm.
When I came to LA, I had no contacts. I had no money. I had no union affiliations. As I told you in the earlier story, I really was empty-handed. But the one thing that I did have, guys, was belief in self. I had a confidence. I knew beyond anything, the one thing I could do was act.
That's right.
And so that confidence that I developed all those years ago still sustains me to this day.
Yeah.
When I don't get a job, it's never because I sucked.
There you go.
It's always because someone was better for the role than me.
Mm-hmm.
It's not personal. To not take it personal, Logan, I think is the way to go.
Very interesting.
Also, to have a life outside of acting.
There you go.
Get married, have kids, garden, do yoga.
Right.
Whatever, find other interests, because the field of acting is a cruel mistress.
Yeah.
Yes, indeed.
She will walk out of that door on you.
So true. So
at
true.
the drop of a hat, and may not come back for a year.
That's right. That's right. Yep.
6 months. And you're going to have a life and something to hang your hat on when acting isn't happening for you. And it happens in the best of careers. There are times when Tom Cruise might not do a film for a year.
Right.
That's right.
Or Tony Winters might not work for a year. It's different because he has millions of dollars.
Right.
I haven't been that blessed as yet. But yeah, I think it's important to have a life outside of the business.
Mm-hmm.
Very interesting. And I mean, starting out, because you also do multiple different avenues in the entertainment industry. You don't just act, writer, producer, director, all the good things. Was that something that has always been on your radar, or is that something that you just kind of figured out that you liked and then got more into it further on in your career?
I think I started writing and producing when I became kind of bored with my career. The roles I was getting offered were the same types of characters over and over again, just in different clothes and different settings.
Right.
And at that time, I started kind of falling in love with independent film.
Yeah.
And romantic comedies.
Yep.
In particular, I went to see a film called My Best Friend's Wedding with Julia Roberts.
Yes.
And I thought to myself, man, I want to be a romantic lead. I want to be in something like this. But all the black producers at the time were trying to remake Boys in the Hood.
Right, right.
They were doing Dead Presidents and those types of films, and it just didn't fit what I was about or my life experience. So I had an experience. I took a young lady home with me to Detroit to make an ex-girlfriend jealous.
Oh boy!
And along the way, the girl that I brought with me just cut up. She acted a fool. She was making outrageous demands, insulting members of my family.
Oh my goodness!
Put her on a plane and sent her back to LA.
Right.
And I said, man, you have just lived a romantic comedy.
That's right.
So I took that experience almost scene for scene, which really happened to us, and I just wrote it. And I raised about $50,000, not much money, and kind of shot it in a piecemeal fashion because I never had all the money at one time.
Sure,
so
right.
We shot over the course of a year, and we premiered at the Pan African Film Festival.
Nice.
And we won the Audience Favorite Award.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
Okay.
I love that.
Yeah.
And that's one of the great things about filmmaking and this craft and this industry, right? The ingenuity, the find a way, the creative, ways that people come together and do things out of necessity, or like you said, I didn't have it all at once, so I had to shoot it here and I had to shoot it there, and yet look, the product that you deliver, fan favorite, right? It doesn't matter how you get there as long as you get there, right?
Dustin, and it is streaming on Prime Video to this day, and it's free. So,
fantastic. Gonna watch it after this interview.
Well, there you go. All right, so now we got to talk about the biggie, though. Of course, everybody probably knows you from Queen Sugar, right? Like that's I'm pretty sure, like, everybody's going, no, come on, talk about that. But you've got a film coming out that we want to talk about, because this is pretty exciting, and it sounds like it's going to be, I'm a huge sports fan. Logan's a huge sports fan, and this has been a topic that I think a lot of people have been talking about for a lot of years, and the idea that a film is coming out about it is pretty exciting. So let's talk about that a little bit. It's called National Championship, right? And it's basically about, should athletes be paid? College athletes get paid for what they're doing. So talk about it. How did you get involved? Who do you play? Give us a scoop, man.
Okay. There's only so much I can tell you about.
Right.
Of course.
I can tell you how I got involved. I have an agent in the Southeast.
Okay.
Who covers me for your part of the world.
Right.
Atlanta, New Orleans.
That's right.
What have you. And he sent me an audition for this film called National Champions. And I did it. It was kind of something that I thought was credible for me. And a couple of weeks later, he called me and said, Tony, you booked it. And next thing I know, I'm sitting down at a conference table with J.K. Simmons, David Koechner, Uzo Aduba, Dave Maldonado, Jeffrey Donovan, and it was directed by Rick Roman-Wah. Like you said, it's about college athletics and should players be compensated. And on the eve of the national championship game, a quarterback ignites a strike amongst the players for pay, and refuses to play until the NCAA negotiates.
Wow! Right.
And I play an NCAA official named Wes Martin. To manage. It's probably the best way I can say it without getting shot by
right.
Okay. Well, a little hint. Are you a bad guy or a good guy on the situation?
Just say, I don't think you're going to like me very much.
Fair enough. So we know which way you're falling. Okay. All right.
I love that, though. That's so freaking interesting, because if you think about it, I mean, they make so much money for this college championship game. So that's crazy. I'm so excited now. That's going to be so freaking good.
That's actually the crux of it.
Yeah.
50 years ago, they weren't earning billions of dollars.
No, not at all.
But now they are.
They are.
A lot of these young men, they sacrifice their bodies for 4 years.
Yes.
4 years of college athletics. I mean, that's a lot of wear and tear. It doesn't seem like much. 4 years, you be around as long as I have. 4 years is a blip in your life.
That's right.
But you can sustain some lifelong injuries as a result of playing in college.
That's right.
And I think college players should be compensated. I guess I can say that. I think they should be compensated for their play.
Right.
Agreed.
Well, and it's not
use of their likeness.
That's exactly what I was going to say. Yeah, it's not just for what they do on the field, but their images are used and their jerseys are sold, and the revenue that's made from that alone is like, where is the fair compensation for that? And so it's excellent that I feel like a lot of these things are coming to the forefront now. Because Logan and I talk about this all the time. Sometimes the best way to start a conversation about something that's uncomfortable to talk about is through entertainment, is to do it in a way that entertains people and that will bring people together. And what did Logan say? What did you say the other day? Be
comfortable with being uncomfortable.
There you go.
Wow, yes.
So,
Thank you.
And entertainment is the way to do that, right? Because you're going to get a lot of people to go see that movie, and then people are going to talk because they're going to talk about that movie, where they might not just sit down and say their opinions about whether athletes should get paid or not, right? But
and I think a lot of people haven't really had a chance to think about it. I mean, we're all very, involved in our own lives. We don't have time to think about college athletes, whether they should be compensated. We think they all go to the NFL and earn millions.
That's right.
Actually, a very, very small percentage of them actually make it through to the next level. But that isn't even really the issue. The issue is, are they being fairly compensated for their play and their images? And, and I think I think this film will definitely spur the conversation that we need to have. And the Supreme Court has just recently ruled on an aspect of this question.
That's right.
So they will be compensated going forward for the use of their likeness and their name.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. I mean, it's such a relevant time with that just being like brought up and talked about. But I also think, I mean, bringing it up, and now that we're deep into it, that situations that happened prior to this coming to the forefront should probably be reversed. Like, for example, Reggie Bush's Heisman trophies at USC. The man should get them back, and he should have his titles and his records reclaimed. I'm just saying.
That just recently, I said, Reggie Bush, first of all, he should have never gave him up.
Exactly.
Right. Because it had nothing to do with what he did on the
field.
At
all. Nothing at all.
He's the one that dodged all those tackles and made all those touchdowns.
That's right. Yep.
He did it beautifully.
Yep.
And so I think somebody at the Heisman Association or whatever it's called should give him back his doggone trophies.
Agreed.
Exactly.
Agreed.
Yeah.
So, all right. So your character is evil, and we might not like him, but we like you.
We like you.
We like you. So I gotta ask though, because you brought up the cast, and oh my gosh, this cast is freaking phenomenal. But is J.K. Simmons as intimidating as he seems? Because I can't. Ever since Whiplash, I just can't get that guy out of my head about slapping me down. Like I'm like, holy shit! And now he's all buff and stuff. Like, what is it like sitting across from that guy, going, "Yes, sir. Yes, sir."
I got to tell you, he is the nicest guy.
Yeah, of course.
And he is an amazing actor. To see it up close, I mean, to see it right here in your face, as he was, just a foot or two away from me in several scenes.
Right.
I got a really chance to watch him work, and I had never seen an actor work quite like he does. And I say this as respectfully as I possibly can. He takes the text from the script and he just riffs on it. He knows what the intent is.
Yeah,
right.
And he just riffs on it, and he'll work his way around to your cue.
Right.
Like you're sitting there waiting, like, okay, when
you're like, where do I come in?
But he's a trained theater professional, so I don't think it's about the lines, but it's just a different approach to the work. When Tony Winters gets a job, trust me, I'm word perfect.
Right.
I know every line that these guys are paying me to learn. I can't pull that just yet.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, but you can watch and learn, though, right? That's another great thing about being on these movies and being with these people is like the learning experience, and what you can take away from that stuff is just invaluable, right?
And also in that film is Kristen Chenoweth.
Yeah.
Tim Oliphant. Tim Blake Nelson.
Yes.
So many.
It's an amazing cast. It's the most amazing cast since I was in a movie 30 years ago called Sneakers. With Robert Redford, Sidney Poitier, Dan Aykroyd, River Phoenix, blah, blah, blah.
Yep.
That was the most amazing cast until National Champions.
Oh, man. Oliphant, I've been such a fan of his since Justified. I watched that show and was like, this guy's got something, And kudos to Favreau.
We did a film together 10 years ago called The Crazies.
Oh, okay. Oh. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, I'm in The Crazies. I played the town pastor. And he finds me after having been attacked by one of the crazies on a gurney. And he pulls off the sheet, and my eyes are sewn shut, and my mouth is sewn shut. And the only thing I can manage to say is, behind you.
Oh,
crazy.
Oh boy!
He turns around and has this great fight scene.
Right.
It's pretty impressive with your mouth sewn shut to be able to say it, right? Like.
I love that. And this, your film is coming out the end of November, right? What specific date again?
November 24th, Thanksgiving weekend.
Yes.
Okay, that's a good weekend to open.
Exactly.
That's a good weekend to open.
Exactly.
It's a great weekend, man. And I'll tell you this, and I'm not blowing smoke, guys. I'm really not. I would not be here if I didn't really, really believe in this film. When I was reading the script, I was blown away. I said, this is the best script I've ever read.
Ooh.
It is the best film script I've ever read.
Yeah.
Because, first of all, again, harkening back to earlier in our conversation, I'm a theater guy,
right?
You know, and it reads like a serious drama on the stage, almost, you know.
Yeah.
And so I was on the edge of my seat, just turning pages, man.
That's awesome.
And Rick Romanois, the director. One of the reasons I was hesitant, Dustin, about directing was because the director has to be the smartest guy in the room.
Right.
And Rick Romanois is the smartest guy in the room. This dude, I mean, generally, you know, directors have their strengths. They either are, you know, about your performance or they're about camera and angles and lighting and that sort of thing. Because once you've been cast, they generally don't even, you know, bother with you about your performance.
Right.
They already know you can do that.
Right.
They're over here. But Rick, man, he would talk to you about your character and his background and your motivations and your objectives. And he'd turn on a dime and talk to the gaffer guy about lighting or the sound guy and the lens, what kind of lens we're going to use to cover this and how many cameras we're going to have for this. He was amazing. He was absolutely amazing. I was in awe just watching him.
And that's rare to find both in one guy, right? Like that's why we're a team.
Yes.
very much talent, performance, very much camera, lighting, angles, and we work really well. So to find one that's got both in one, it's like good for him, man.
Are you guys brothers?
No.
He's actually my father-in-law.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. There you go, right? Like, yeah, he actually met my daughter, you know, through the company. We used to work together in broadcast news, so we met at a television station, and so that's how we met, and then it just kind of the whole production company and film stuff just kind of launched.
You introduced him to your daughter?
Yes. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is the highest praise you know you can get, Dustin.
Right. Exactly.
That's right.
Introduce you to his daughter, his heart.
That's
the
right.
Beats of his heart.
Yeah,
trusting you with her love.
It's a big family affair, man. It's nothing but family. Like we love it.
That's awesome. As a happily divorced, miserably single guy, I applaud you.
That's me. That's me. So I'm happy for him. I'm like, I'm like, don't do to her. So,
my goodness,
man, you have been an absolute joy to talk to. And I tell you what, the enthusiasm that you have speaking about the movie and just your smile is infectious, man. We have had such a great time talking to you. And such great advice for the up-and-comers and how your path got you to where you are. And just like, it's just been just a good time, man. And open invite anytime you want to come back. We'd love to have you on, whether it's to promote something or just shoot the shit or join us for the top 5. We do a top 5 segment every week on the show. Just whatever, man. Open invite.
And I am a crazy ant eater.
Yes.
That's right. We're going to have to send you an honorary Crazy Ant t-shirt. We've got them, man. We'll send you up.
Let's make it happen, Captain.
Let's do it.
That's great. And it's all about social media now. So where can people follow you?
Yeah, I'm on Twitter, Tony Winters 128.
Okay.
Tony Winters 128. I'm on Instagram as Pretty Tony Winters.
There you
That
go.
Mercedes-Benz right there. That pretty Mercedes-Benz.
It's a Muhammad Ali thing.
I'm so pretty. That's right.
So pretty. That's what it is.
I love that you know all my references. I love a guy that knows all my stuff. I'm usually too old. We get all these young guys, and I'm just loving this.
I hate to digress again. I know we're wrapping up.
You're good.
Do you know who I met, Logan?
Who?
About 2-3 weeks ago.
Who's that?
Mike freaking Tyson.
What? Oh my gosh. Yes.
I was at an event and I was with a lady friend of mine, and she said, "Tony, don't look now, but Mike Tyson is sitting there."
Oh shit.
I said, "Get out of here." I said, "I'm going to meet Mike Tyson
Right.
at this restaurant." I know people in Beverly Hills don't do that, but doggone it, I was going to do it.
That's right.
So at a certain point, I saw him standing, talking to various people at the table. And I said, "Now's my moment." I walked over and I said, "Hey, champ, I appreciate what you do and what you've done."
Yeah.
And we dapped each other. He said, "Thanks, brother." And I was like, I met
Yeah.
Mike.
All right, so that's an epic story because we share that in common. Now get this.
Oh, really?
I met Mike Tyson too, but not in that kind of a way, not anything nearly as cool. This was long before my entertainment career or any of this kind of great stuff I do now. I was managing a clothing store, a Nautica clothing store, and it was just outside Memphis, and it was when he was in Memphis to fight Lennox Lewis. And him and his crew just rolled up into the store. And I was like shitting on myself. I'm like, is that really fucking Mike Tyson walking up into my store right now? And sure, he walks in, and I'm like, I can't believe this. Like, he was the coolest dude ever. His crews just spent like bakoodles of money, and he was just like, oh, yeah. But I was like you. I mean, this guy was my guy, man. This like undefeated, just like the most vicious. And I just was in total awe. But he was very polite, very cordial, like, nice to meet you.
Very
Glad
nice
you're a
man.
fan.
Very nice
So
man.
appreciative that you follow me and like all this kind of. And I was just like, wow. So that's a story to tell, right? Like, I mean, that's a lifetime story.
Your story is just as cool as mine.
Well, we got that in count. We're cool like that. You know, us and Mike, we'll roll, you know.
You
can find me on
experienced
Facebook.
individuals.
You can find me on Facebook, gentlemen, under Tony Winters. I'm sure there are a bunch of them, but I'm there.
We'll find you.
Fantastic. Well, thank you again so much for taking time out of your day, and we'll be in contact soon, man. We appreciate you.
I look forward to it, Dustin, Logan. You guys have a wonderful evening and happy holidays to you all.
Yes, you
Thank
too.
you.
Take care, buddy.
All right.
All right, bye-bye.
I know.
All right, man. Oh, man, was he fucking epic.
I mean, just look with that smile and
Yeah.
the enthusiasm that he has, you could just tell this is a guy who loves what he does.
Yeah.
And is just like, oh my gosh, yeah, what a blast.
Right? So many good stories, and we could have dived so much deeper into all of them because he truly enjoys the craft. Everything about filmmaking, he is down for it. And I mean, he also like can tell when other people are passionate about it as well. So I think that is really important.
Exactly. And for all you listeners out there, just we can't stress enough. Pay attention. Get on a set.
Yeah.
Take a job that will get you near a set. Always be on your best behavior. You never know who you're talking to, right? All that stuff. Listen to what Tony Winter said. Do that.
Exactly. Thank you again, Mr. Winters, for coming on the show.